Evening. Welcome back to Legends, part two. Without further ado, we're going to run a little intro video. Here we go. I was really getting into that. I love that little tune. Yeah, so I've got an intro video and everything. It's almost like a proper YouTube show. Right, so for those of you that didn't see the last video, I've decided to run a series where I talk about legends, and there's going to be some live shows where people talk about who they think are their biggest legends, either on a worldwide stage or at club level. And like I said, this is episode 2, and I'm going to ramble on for a little while about somebody who potentially I probably should have spoke about this person in the first episode, as opposed to the great and mighty Mr. Ian Wright, because this guy's the reason I became a Gooner in the first place, many years ago. And I kind of wanted to keep it under wraps a little bit, maybe lend a little bit of secrecy and mystique to it. But without further ado, I'm going to let you know who episode 2's legend is, and it's this guy. Of course, it's this guy. It's Alan Sunderland, and whenever anybody mentions the name Alan Sunderland, that's probably the image that everyone sees. Like I said, the reason that I'm a Gooner is this guy and this precise moment in the 1979 FA Cup final. I'll dig into it, and I'll give you many more details on the reasons why this guy is a legend. But yeah, it's Alan Sunderland all the way. Before we pile straight into it, though, here's a little banner. Yeah, Legends podcast, and the little ticker tape running along the bottom. It would be very much appreciated if you could like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so, and hit the notification bell so you'll get to catch everything else I do from this point onwards. So, without further ado, Mr. Alan Sunderland. Now, Alan was born in a place called Coningsborough in Yorkshire in 1953. His dad was a coal miner. His mum was a ticket collector on buses, I believe. He had quite a tough upbringing. He's quite a tough bloke, to be honest. But obviously, his footballing talent gave him a very nice career. He was a professional footballer for 16 years, from 1971 to 1987. He started with Wolves, then he came to us, and then he moved on to Ipswich. But obviously, I'm going to concentrate on the Arsenal years. But it's a bit of a misconception that he was just a forward, because he wasn't. He started as a midfielder, and he was a midfielder when we bought him in '77, and we converted him into a striker, and that was where the greatness took place. Now, when you bear in mind, he was in his mid-20s when we bought him, and to be converted from a position that you've always played into a new one, I think that's a pretty big deal. You see it does happen, but quite often a player will be converted at a much younger age, or they will keep banging on that they want to play in a certain position. But with Alan, he just wanted to play for Arsenal. And when he was told that he wanted to, or they wanted him to be a centre forward, he was like, "Of course, that's what I'll do." And he had a great deal of success. He struck up a really good striking partnership with Frank Stapleton in the 7 years that he was at Arsenal. And the rest is kind of history. Now, the definition of a legend, as I've said before, is quite difficult at club level. International level, or global level, is fairly straightforward. You transcend your sport, and your record speaks for itself. Club level, I think it's a little bit different. It's very subjective, and to my way of thinking, there are three main categories that you have to fulfill. Not exclusively, you don't have to fulfill all of them. But for me, longevity, success, and conduct are the main prerequisites. Now, Alan definitely fits the bill for longevity. He had 7 seasons with us. Success, it wasn't as successful as other players, but he won an FA Cup. That for me is success in itself. And he was revered for being very, very hardworking, very brave, excellent aerially, and he brought an awful lot to our team. Now, his stats, they don't really tell the whole story. He played 281 times, scored 92 goals, which is it's an average of scoring just over every 3 games, which isn't prolific by any stretch of the imagination, but he brought a lot more to the team than that. Now with Alan, even though his performances and his conduct and his character, they're beyond argument, because anyone who saw him play would back this up. But another category that you could possibly put in there is just that one moment of greatness. Now, for Alan, his one moment of greatness was more or less the last kick of the ball in the 1979 FA Cup final. He played well before that, but this is what brought him to everyone's attention. Certainly, what brought him to my attention. Now, for those of you who haven't seen the 79 Cup final, it's a dim and distant memory for me. And I actually I rewatched the highlights earlier today just to refresh my memory, because I was 6 when this game went on. Now, we're 2-0 up at half time, pretty much cruising, and then we get to the 86th minute, so there's 4 minutes left, and Man United pull one back, and then 2 minutes later Man United equalise, so we've got 2 minutes left in the FA Cup final. And you would think that Man United were then in the ascendancy, because we've been 2-0 up. They've pegged us back to 2-2 with 2 goals in 2 minutes, literally in the last knock-ins of the FA Cup final. And instead of getting nervous and sitting back, we decided to go on the attack, and literally straight from kickoff, Liam Brady's got the ball. He's got 3 players around him. He lets them close him down before he releases Graham Rix on the left wing. Graham Rix floats beautiful cross in from the left. Gary Bailey in goal for Man United. He's literally flapping at air. And then all of a sudden there's this guy in a yellow shirt with his huge permed hair come flying in at the back stick. And he still had a lot of work to do. And Arthur Albiston's there, and Alan Sunderland managed to get the last touch, and he slid it in. And basically everyone's gone fucking crazy. Me as well. Now, the thing that strikes me about this, and the thing that really hits home with me, now I've said this before, I was on Albert JTV's live stories, the last episode before, and I did mention this as being a big moment for me, and talk about Albert's live stories. He did a show on Friday night with Sophie Nicolau and Super Kevin Campbell from the Highbury squad. And Sophie mentioned Alan Sunderland, and I knew that I was going to do an episode on Alan at some point, but it kind of got me thinking, and I thought, yeah, I think it's right that we talk about him now. Now, I was 6, as I said, when this game happened, and I do have a recollection of watching the game with my dad, who's a Liverpool fan. And I remember choosing the team in yellow. I don't know what my reasons were. It could just have been that I like the yellow kit. I'm 6 at the time. But I do know for a fact that my dad is a Liverpool fan. He's not going to encourage me to be supporting the other lot. And I probably didn't watch the whole game. The only bit that sticks with me really is the bit at the end with this bloke wheeling away from the back stick with his skin tight yellow top, his veins sticking out in his neck. his perm bouncing all over the place, and the absolute joy that this moment gave me. It was my first realization that following a football club, any football club, in this beautiful game of ours, it can bring you such joy. It brings you an awful lot of heartache, but moments like this, it's absolute joy. And that for me is the reason why personally Alan Sunderland is an absolute legend, because that moment, this guy, it changed my life forever. And I don't say that lightly. It did literally change my life, because it made me fall in love with football. It made me fall in love with Arsenal Football Club. And I don't want to be disparaging for towards the other Arsenal players, because there's, like, in this game there were legends all over the park. You had Pat Jennings in goal. David O'Leary was a 21-year-old. He's the holds the record for the most appearances for Arsenal. Pat Rice, Brian Talbot, Liam Brady, Graham Ricks, but this was the moment that stuck in my head as a young lad, and it changed everything for me. Now, you could speak to younger or newer Arsenal fans who may not be aware of who Alan Sunderland is, or fans of other teams who wouldn't class Alan Sunderland as a legend, but I guarantee you that once I've shuffled off this mortal coil, Alan Sunderland's name is in the history books, and it is in Arsenal folklore for that one moment. And for that reason, he deserves to be classed as an Arsenal legend. I don't really know what else to say on the subject. If anyone's got any comments, it would be great if you could pop them in the comments below. I always like reading them, and it's nice to have conversations about it. But yeah, arise, Sir Alan Sunderland. You did it, mate, and you are the reason why I'm an Arsenal fan. As I said at the start, it would be absolutely awesome if you could like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. But until next time, be good, and I'll see you.